You're watching Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. It is mailbag time. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Follow me on Twitter, at HGrahamNFL. I got a lot more Bears coverage and updates over there and will throughout this offseason. Let's go ahead and start with B. Ryan Gaming. Appreciate the super there. What are some things you think will improve and worsen this upcoming season? I think the defense will get back to a top 10, top 5 type of level. They were fringe top 10 this year across the board. Shout out to my guy Mitchell Renz, who filled in for the promotion of Sean Desai to defensive coordinator. I think they needed some young, fresh energy. I think he's a good candidate and a good hire from Chicago. I probably would have preferred Jay Rodgers, but Desai's been there since 2013 as well. He's worked his way up. I think the defense plays better. As far as worsen, golly. Maybe I don't know. I think the defense gets better. I'm looking at producer bet. Maybe the secondary overall gets a little worse, but I think the defense and the pass rush will be better next year. How about that? I don't think the offense can get much worse. So how about the kicking? Kicking could get worse because Cairo Santos was awesome this past season. All right, Flaming Spikes here. Should trade for Marcus Mariota. How about no? He's not very good and he's overpaid. No, thank you. Raiders report Mitchell Renz is pointing at me right now. If the Dolphins get Stafford or Watson, should we go for Tua? I think if the Dolphins get Watson, Tua goes back to the Texans. Now, maybe that's not true for Detroit, but I think whoever trades for if the Dolphins trade for a quarterback, they're probably sending Tua back to that team, most likely. So if that doesn't happen, I'd have some interest in Tua. Would I trade number 20 straight up for him? Maybe. I'd be intrigued, but I just don't think it's very likely because, again, if the Dolphins trade for one of these guys, Tua's probably in that trade. Tamber the Lamber, trading for Jimmy G is the most realistic trade for the Bears, in my opinion. I do think this is one of the more realistic trade options. I would agree with you. We've talked about Garoppolo. I think it's fairly realistic because, A, the 49ers are going to look to upgrade, and B, he's not going to cost as much as the other guys. So, yeah, I think there's some truth to that. Casey Smith, next up on our Bears mailbag. It would be weird as hell, but if they can get him, should the Bears trade for Aaron Rodgers? So let's be clear. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is getting traded at all. I definitely don't think he's getting traded to the Bears, but I'll say this. If you're Ryan Pace, you're fighting for your job, you should do your due diligence on any quarterback you have interest in. Call the front office of the Packers. If they tell you to go F yourself, well, you got your answer, right? Like, at least you can cross that off your list. There's no harm in making a call. Call the Packers. See what the hell they have to say. I think they're going to say something like I just said, but hey, you never know what could happen in the National Football League. I saw Brett Favre go play for the Minnesota Vikings after almost 20 years with the Packers. You just never know. You make a call, they say no, then you can cross them off your list. Ryan Pace, do your due diligence, call the Packers. When they say no, you move on to someone else. Now, would you, if you were in charge and this were even a possibility, would you do it? Would you trade for Aaron Rodgers? Because I know some of you guys are like, I don't care how good he is, can't have him in Chicago. The poll on today's YouTube live video is 70% of you say yes. If you want to say no, you can type in for no, but I think a lot of you guys are intrigued by this idea. Type Y for yes, type in for no. If you were in charge and if this were a possibility, would you do it? Let me know. Jacob Cutler, Kristen with you. Hashtag Bears. At this point, should we use our first 2 draft picks on a quarterback? No. Pace is so bad. Let's take 2 swings at it. I do like that thinking just to make fun of the GM. You don't do that. You get conviction on someone you like, and you take them. And that's the end of the story. K-Down, appreciate the super. How about the linebacker Collins? If we stay at 20, Danny isn't it. Trevathan improved a lot. I don't think you go linebacker in round 1. There's just much bigger needs. He played like the Trevathan of old the second half of the season. I'm not going linebacker in round 1. Roquan is your top guy. Trevathan is your number 2. That's more than serviceable right now. Andrew Jimenez, can we tag AR and then trade him up? Yeah, you can tag and trade him. I think that's actually I'll put that a greater than 10% possibility because they're not just going to let him walk, I don't think. If they're going to let him go, they're going to tag and trade him, I believe. So, yeah, I think there's a chance of that. I still think, if I had to say the most likely scenario, it's tagging him and keeping him, and then re-signing him as number 2, and then tag and trades number 3. Those are my thoughts on Allen Robinson. Alan Mack, thoughts on the new DC? Plus, is it a loss that we couldn't get the Eagles' ex-running backs coach? Deuce Staley is who you're talking about. I was literally going to talk about that on Monday's Bears Rumors. Then he went to the Lions, so we scrapped that. I don't know if it's a loss, but Deuce Staley is highly thought of. He worked his way up in the Eagles organization to assistant head coach in like 6 years. So that's pretty impressive. I like Sean Desai. I think he'll bring some fresh energy. And being the safeties coach, I hope he can get Eddie Jackson back on track in 2020. I think he'll be more aggressive. I'm excited to see what he can do. Joel Fernandez, #Bears, was Nick Foles a bust for us? I mean, yeah, you traded a fourth for a backup quarterback, basically. Super Bowl legend Nick Foles, I mean, he wasn't very good. So I'll say this in Foles' defense. While he was in there, the O-line was a disaster. It just happened to improve when Trubisky went back out there. Plus, number two, no offseason does hurt any quarterback in a new system. That being said, Foles is pretty washed at this point. Let's be honest. Super Bowl legend Nick Foles and Chiefs legend, for those of you who remember. Who you got in the big game? Type KC for the Chiefs. Type TB for the Bucks. Also, Tom Brady's arch nemesis, Nick Foles. Let's remember that. The Bears beat the Bucks this year. Man, remember that. KC for the Chiefs, TB for the Bucks. Let me know who you guys picking in Super Bowl 55. Hey, Bears fans, help us out. We're growing so fast that we're changing this graphic every week. Let's get to 22,000 subscribers. We crossed 21,000 over the weekend. Let's keep the train rolling. More subscribers equals more videos. We're covering the latest free agency news and rumors, draft coverage this offseason, quarterback rumors galore. If the Bears get a quarterback, we will break it down right here. So subscribe, turn on notifications. Oh, and by the way, the only way you can get on our mailbag videos, you got to join us live every single Tuesday. Lucas Schmidt, #Bears, how would you feel about Gardner Minshew at quarterback? Why not just re-sign Trubisky? Right? Creative, and I think Trubisky's better. Creative mobile quarterback that it has limited upside. He's a good backup. I think the fact that Jags found him in the 6th round is damn impressive, but I don't have strong opinions. He's not taking you anywhere. Misfit Kai, I didn't really watch college, but who is there to look at or trade that's not a quarterback? Just want to know. Keep up the great work. Know this, loaded offensive tackle class, which is really, really good for the Chicago Bears. Number two, you said not quarterback, good quarterback class, deep wide receiver class as well. Kyle Pitts, the tight end, he's my favorite player coming out of Florida. It's a better offensive class overall, I believe, than defense, which works out for the Bears because defensively they're in pretty good shape. Green Gamer, who are the top O-linemen in free agency? Trent Williams is the top one for sure that comes to mind. I know Garrett Bowles got an extension late last off-season. If you're going to get a tackle in a free agency, I think Williams is the guy. I'd be curious to see how much he gets, but he's probably going to be too expensive, so I think you're going to have to go draft for tackle. Danny Jonk, if Bears get a new quarterback like Deshaun Watson or Tua, will they be a Super Bowl contender? Not with Tua. Tua's not ready. I think Tua can become that. If Watson's in Chicago, let me be very clear. If Watson is here and Allen Robinson is back, this team can compete for a Super Bowl. Doesn't mean they're the favorite. Doesn't mean they'll win it. Doesn't mean they'll win a playoff game. But if you get Deshaun Watson with this core roster and the defense gets back into a better form, which they would because they wouldn't be on the field all the damn time, this is a legit contender if Watson is a part of this football team. Joseph Brown, if Jalen Waddle is still at the 20th pick, will the Bears get him if Allen Robinson walks? I'll say this. I don't want to go receiver in round 1, and I want to keep Allen Robinson, but if Waddle is there at 20, I'm very tempted. I'm not going to lie. Mel Kiper has him going number 6 in his first mock draft. Waddle is as electric as it gets. If he's there at 20, I would at least have some intrigue if I was the Chicago Bears. Doesn't fill a top need, but especially with AR gone, that could get interesting. All right, Bears fans, I want you guys to do me a favor. Follow me on Twitter at HGramNFL. I'm posting daily Bears updates, get you guys up to date with what's going on with the Chicago Bears. I also have thoughts on other sports, college football, some NBA stuff as well, and general NFL information. If you're not catching stuff on these videos, I'm probably posting it on my Twitter. So keep up to date with me outside of this YouTube channel. It's at HGramNFL. More Bears coverage over there. I would greatly appreciate it if you gave me a follow. Bears Football 101, Matt Ryan for a 1st and 3rd, and draft Trask. I don't think they would do that. I don't think so. You would draft Trask with your second, I guess, is what you're saying. You could do that, but then where's the offensive line help? And look, say what you want about Nick Foles. Two things. One, you're probably stuck with him. I don't think he's getting someone's trading for his contract. Two, he's a good backup. I don't think you're drafting a quarterback at that point if you go get Matt Ryan. In theory, yes, because Ryan's older, but if you lose 2 of your first 3 picks, I think that pick almost has to become an offensive tackle in round 2. Like, you got to get Matt Ryan a tackle. Remember how immobile Nick Foles behind this Bears offensive line worked out? Matt Ryan can't move that well. You got to protect him. So if you get Matty Ice, you need offensive line help. Last one on this mailbag. If you're watching live, we'll hit some more questions later. #Bears. If Eric Bieniemy was hired for head coach, do you think we could have gotten Watson? The latest report is that Watson wants out regardless. So even if Bieniemy goes to Houston, I still think there's a good chance he gets traded. So I don't think that really has any impact on Watson's future.